What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another Reddit video here on the Life Stories channel. My name's Dylan, and today we're going to be looking at some stories from the subreddit Tales from the Front Desk, so sit back, relax and enjoy the show. I'll laugh when you lose your job and you die of starvation in the streets. Last night, a large family checked in on their way to take a few of their kids on college visits. This was a multi-generational affair. Of course, they crammed 10 people into 2 rooms, which was obviously a red flag that they'd be a nuisance, but in our state 5 is the legal limit per room, so I couldn't really do anything about it. I only mention this because they're all extremely loud at their 10 PM check-ins, and the youngest kids were running around and screaming. You guys know how that usually goes. It's the type of family that, comes down late at night to ask for milk for everyone. All seemed well until I received a call from the guarantor, who, mind you, is a very special lifetime Snowflake member, that the tub was clogged in one of the rooms, which were adjoining. Since I wasn't busy, I apologised and told him I'd be up in a couple of minutes with one of our zip-it tools to unclog it. He said, "No, I want you to come and see it first." This was weird, but I headed up to his room. Not 30 seconds later, he called the portable phone and said, "Are you coming, OP? I don't have all night." This really set me off as I was literally outside his door at that point. I'm generally a pretty agreeable and friendly person, but this guaranteed that I went in with a rubbish mood. When I got to his room, all 10 people were standing there with their arms crossed staring at me silently. This sent my anxiety through the roof. I looked at the tub, and sure enough the water was draining quite slowly. By this time it was 10:20 PM. Me. So I can see that the drain is clogged. I'll grab one of the tools to unclog it. Just give me a moment, our storage is just 2 doors down. SG, Snowflake guest. We have to go to sleep. I demand immediate compensation for the torture that you're putting us through. We will not be paying for either of these rooms. Me getting visibly angry. Give me 1 moment to get the tool and I'll be in and out in under 5 minutes. If you don't want to do that, the other option I have is for you to gather your belongings and I'll switch you to a different room. SG. No, this is ridiculous. You need to give me a key to an empty room so that we can use the shower in there. Me. I can't do that. If you'd like to pay for 3 rooms, I certainly can, but I can't just provide a key to an empty room. Also, I already gave you the option to change rooms. SG. I need your manager, get them on the phone now. Me. My manager's working overnight tonight and she will actually be in less than half an hour, so if you'd like to speak to her, I'd advise you, though she'll say the exact same thing that I did. SG. Then I will call corporate and you'll both get fired. This is absolutely racist and disgusting. I'll laugh when you lose your job and die of starvation on the streets, you... Me, surprisingly calm and collected. That's fine, I can just have you ejected from the hotel. This is private property and we don't tolerate hatred. I'll get in touch with the police right now. I went to close the door. His family shouted, "No!" in unison and SG began to tearfully plead with me. "We're just gonna sleep now," he said. "I'm so sorry, let's just forget about this." Me. I don't want to hear from you again for the rest of the evening. If you still need help, call back at 11 when the manager arrives because I cannot assist you further. I arrived back at my desk and was extremely upset. Honestly, I was ready to quit my job there and then. I'm so sick of how this industry chews and spits out the best people who genuinely care for the guests. Also sick of my rubbish general manager, but that's a different story. Sure enough, the phone rings. SG. Any updates? Me. There are no updates to give. Management will be arriving soon. It's 10:45. I hung up. I explained the situation to my manager when she arrived, and I guess he gave her similar treatment later that night. I don't know why this particular encounter really got under my skin, but I'm so upset. Well, if I was OP, I'd report him to corporate because I wouldn't be surprised if OP had found toilet paper stuffed in the drain or something. It's clear that they were just looking for free rooms. The Snowflake was needlessly an idiot and he would have gotten to me too. I hope management has OP's back. An exhibition with a side of hide and seek. Heyo friendly friends, I return tonight with the tale of a naked man. Many of us have had to deal with the naked man. He's drunk or high on something or homeless or some combination of factors I don't even care to guess, because welcome to the scenic big city, where you can take your cues about humans from Depeche Mode and The Doors. People are people, but damn, people are strange. I'm working overnight with one of my other auditors, Ceci, and I'm gonna pronounce it Ceci, don't get mad at me, and things are going rather smoothly for the evening. We had some other fun recently on prior nights, a dude raccooning through our trash compactor in the loading dock and trying to get himself crushed, a druggie we had to have physically removed from the property by officers a night or so before, who had convinced himself that our second floor bathrooms were a good place to break into to do his stuff, a drunkard in our lounge who got to the point of breaking bottles and glasses and had threatened our bar crew with a knife, also evicted by the police, thankfully no one was hurt. And I may yet tell you about the fire alarm which occurred about a week after the incident I'm going into, but tonight seemed calm. Oh, how it seemed. Paperwork was progressing smoothly. The day crew had some spare time to work on a few reports that they don't usually have the ability to reconcile for us, so we had started out ahead of the game. The restaurant had closed that night with no issues, the bar seemed quiet, and our security and bar attendants hadn't spoken to us in their final hour of operation, which was a good sign. Guests seemed happy or asleep as the phones had been quiet and the desk had seen neither hide nor hair of our last two arrivals, or any other guests for that matter. Even my amity bins and marketplace were completely stocked. I had almost lulled myself into thinking it might be a normal night. But of course this wouldn't be a tale if nothing had happened. Cue the naked man. This likely wouldn't have got so far had I been at the desk when he entered. However, Ceci, you remember her right, my other auditor, was manning the desk whilst I'd gone to deliver the one and only guest request for our night. It was a measly toothbrush for a guest on the upper floor. I returned to find a look on Ceci's face that can only be described as this. OP linked a gif of someone looking very shocked. Obviously I'm a bit concerned, so I ask, "What's up, Ceci?" A dude just walked in. Me? Okay. Not quite getting what she's trying to imply. I think she was still processing. Thankfully she had the wherewithal to call security before I'd gotten back, but it still took her a bit to go through the things with me. Ceci, he's not wearing anything except some socks. He has a bag, but that's it, he's naked. At this point her face is just so taken aback I can't help myself. I'm laughing, just a little bit, because it's not my first rodeo, more than a decade in the industry. This is the least concerning issue in my repertoire. But obviously we can't just let this dude go meandering around the hotel, so I tell her to inform our night houseman, Gary, of the situation too, and that I'll coordinate with security to check the accessible floors. Thankfully, despite being a relatively large building, nearly 20 floors, though this still makes us smaller than several surrounding structures, we only have 3 publicly accessible levels via our elevators: the lobby, the second floor, which is home to the conference rooms primarily, and our top floor, which is open as well due to guest lounge up there. As I'm heading up the stairs to the second floor, I hear a noise further up, the third floor. Now, you should be aware, the lobby, the second and the third floors all share an open air space. You can see all the way from the third floor balcony down to our lobby, though as I mentioned our third floor is secured. This is important in a moment. The noise in question, a panicked half yell half squeak that I recognised as coming from Gary, had also come through the radio as well, as Gary had been conferring with Ceci as directed. Well, my friends, in the midst of their conversation, Gary had called the elevator up to the third floor so he could come down and help us. Except what actually happened was Gary, standing nonchalantly by the elevator doors, as one does, had watched the doors open wide to reveal the naked man was in the elevator, and now he was smiling whilst a single hand was otherwise occupied. Gary, being the ever so quick-witted man that he is, simply squawked out on the radio as the elevator door closed on this dude, enjoying himself as though he was seemingly untethered by societal norms. Ceci is on the radio getting Gary's attention back and asking him what's happened, as I'm standing halfway up the stairwell staring at her trying to figure out the same thing, when Gary finally gets out of the situation and informs us the guy's on elevator 3. We call security down to the lobby, as I'm getting the right elevator called down to the core. Except the door's open and the naked man isn't there. Security's asking me where the guy is, and I'm hopping on the radio and confirming with Gary that the guy didn't get off on the 3rd floor. But nope, Gary's still up there just in case. It's not been long enough for the elevator to have gone all the way to the top floor lounge, so he must have gotten off somewhere else. I radio Gary to have him hit up the emergency stairwell from the 3rd floor and ask security to do the same from the 1st floor and meet Gary on the way up. I'm standing by the elevators, making sure nothing strange happens there and forcing all the elevators to stay on floor 1. When I hear Ceci around the corner, Tio. I come running, only to find the naked man strolling leisurely through our lobby. He had come down from the 2nd floor via the banister stairs, the only other option that he had outside the elevators and the emergency stair, and was now just walking out of the front doors, bag in arm, socks on feet, and other objects in his hand. Yeah, the situation eventually resolved without any form of serious issue, without guests being involved, without having to call the authorities, without anything being broken or stolen, or having drug paraphernalia and or weapons strewn about. Just a naked man showing himself off to Ceci and Gary before blowing away into the night like a leaf on the wind. For those interested, yes, we called the non-emergency after the fact, not before, since we weren't entirely sure the guy wasn't a guest to start with. Though that then begs the question of how we would have handled it if he had been a guest, and informed them of the dude's presence in the area. I'm unsure if anything came of that, but I can say I've not seen that particular naked man since. Or if I have, he's since been clothed. That made me laugh. I had to stop the recording a couple of times. It's weird because everything tells me that that's a really creepy situation and he's got some serious issues and he could be harmful to, say, kids, but the other half of me just finds the story so funny. I don't know, it's a weird one. I've stayed here over 20 times, I don't need to give you a deposit. This one happened like 5 minutes ago and I'm still fuming about it. It's like 1:30 AM and some punk ass kid just walked in here like he owned the place. Kid, I'd like a room now. Me. Alright, it'll be $60 cash or card? Kid, cash. Me. Alright, I'm gonna need a deposit of $100 that you'll get when you check out. Kid, what are you talking about? I've stayed here like 20 times and never ever needed a deposit when paying with cash. Me, I'm sorry yo to hear that, it seems as someone has not been doing their job when they check you in. I will still need the deposit if you wish to check in. Kid, I'm not giving you a deposit and you're giving me a room. Me. Sir, it doesn't work like that. I need a deposit if you wish to check in. Kid. No, you don't understand. I've stayed here like 20 times without doing it and there's no writing that I need to do it. Me. Well then, sir, I cannot help you and I will not be checking you in without a deposit. Kid. Well, I'm calling your boss tomorrow and getting you fired. Me, have a nice day, please leave. A few minutes later, the kid comes back in. Kid. You're selling me a room now with no deposit. Me. Sir, I'm doing no such thing. In fact, I'm refusing the right to service you. Kid. You can't do that and I'll take my money. Me. I refuse the right to service. Kid. It's like a 30-minute walk to the nearest hotel. Do you know how often I stay here? Do you know how much business you'll be losing out on? Me. That's fine, please leave. Kid. Fine, I'll give you the bloomin' deposit, just sell me a room, man, my girlfriend's freezing out there. Me. I refuse to give the right to service to someone who's implying I am a thief. Kid. I'm not saying you're a thief, I'm just saying I don't trust a stranger. Me. Understandable, I'm still not selling you the room. Kid. That's illegal, you have to take my money. Me. I'm under no such obligation to do anything. Kid. Please man, I'm begging you, it's cold as hell out. Me. I'm not sure how that's my problem, sir. Kid. I'm gonna come in and talk to your boss and get you fired so fast tomorrow. Me. And here's his card and number. Kid. Are you really gonna act like this? Me. If you want the room, I'd like an apology and the deposit. Kid. I'm sorry, now take my money. I then check the kid in and take his money and deposit, making a point to show him how we put our deposits in a safe. He then has the balls to mutter under his breath after getting the keys, a quiet you. I don't respond to threats, I'm sorry sir, but you have to leave, and if you return I'll call the police and get you trespassed, is the line that OP should have used. This story could have also had a bit of salt shaken on it from r/arsehole tax then, something along the lines of, well that's $60 for the room and $105 for the deposit. What? Sorry, $110 for the deposit. Well guys, that's it for today's video. If you did enjoy, leave a like rating down below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.